local news that matters. This is CBS 17 News.
Be aware they are willing to shoot at the subject. Super off on the shoulder, 100 miles per hour.
Horror on the highway. Tonight, the chilling radio traffic in the 50-mile carjacking and chase. And the new details the suspect's family shares about his health.
A couple murdered in their Chatham County home. The killer still on the loose more than a decade later, what may have made them a target.
North Carolina on the short list for the Republican National Convention.
Plus, honoring the fallen and thanking those in blue in the Bull City.
But we start tonight with some good news breaking out of Houston, Texas. 2 weeks after being admitted to the hospital, hours after his wife's funeral, President George H.W. Bush is out of the hospital.
A family spokesperson confirms Mr. Bush is, quote, doing well and happy to return home. Few details were released about his most recent illness, though. He is 93 years old. Well, chilling radio calls between law enforcement agencies in 3 different counties is painting a better picture of Thursday's 3-county carjacking and chase on I-95.
And that suspect was in court today. CBS 17's Amy Cutler is live at the federal courthouse in Raleigh. And Amy, you spoke with his parents tonight. What did they say?
Well, Angela, I did have the chance to speak with Raymond Bryant's father, who tells me his son suffers with a traumatic brain injury and often has delusions. He tells me he believes his son was headed to visit his 3 kids in Gates County, where they live. Raymond Bryant Jr. has a new mugshot and new federal charges. According to the criminal complaint, the 44-year-old is accused of using a gun and committing multiple carjackings on I-95 in Dunn.
Essential to all units en route to this chase. Highway patrols advising be aware they are willing to shoot at the subject.
It happened around 4:30 Thursday when authorities say Bryant caused a crash. They tell me he got out armed with 2 guns, fired into a tractor trailer. The driver and passenger managed to escape. Authorities say as Bryant backed that tractor trailer up, it jackknifed. Bryant tried to carjack another truck. The driver got out. Then it was on to a pickup truck. Authorities tell us there was a confrontation. Bryant fled in that white pickup.
He's off on the shoulder of the road over 100 miles an hour.
The chase ended about 50 miles north in Nash County. I stopped by Bryant's Roseboro home. Neighbors say they kept their distance. He behaved erratically and often shot off his gun. Off camera, his father tells me his son has a traumatic brain injury caused by years of high school football and 2 serious car accidents. Bryant Sr. says they tried several times to get him help, but he often went off his medicine. Instead, he tells me he'd self-medicate. Bryant Sr. says he's never known his son to hurt anyone. Now, Bryant has been moved to the Harnett County Detention Center. His father says he is working on getting his son an attorney ahead of his appearance Friday here in federal court in Raleigh. Live in Raleigh, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.
Please, God, please make it stop.
It is absolutely terrifying everywhere they look or feel. Breaking tonight in Hawaii, the largest earthquake to strike the Big Island in more than 40 years. This video shows children quickly evacuating from their school. The 6.9 magnitude quake comes as lava breaks out from a volcano. It can be seen bubbling up on the streets in one community. At least 1,500 people are already evacuated.
Also breaking tonight, the suspect who police say shot and killed an Indiana state trooper today is dead after exchanging gunfire with police. The officer was shot and killed outside an apartment complex. Police say the suspect barricaded himself inside an apartment and refused to come out. That officer's name has not yet been released. And tonight, crews are cleaning up after a train derailed in Fort Mill, South Carolina, just across the North Carolina border. We brought this to you as breaking news at 6 o'clock. You can see dozens of train cars off the tracks and onto their sides. Thankfully, no one was hurt. That train is operated by Norfolk Southern, which is based out of Raleigh. The case of a man who died after showing up on a Raleigh porch Thursday morning, bloodied and bruised, is now being investigated as a homicide.
This happened Thursday morning just outside of downtown. CBS 17's Michael Hyland is back on that big story tonight, learning more about the man who died. And Michael, you spoke with his sister.
Yeah, police still want to hear from anybody who saw Thomas Koenig Wednesday night or Thursday morning. That's when his sister got the call that she says has left her sobbing for 2 days.
Banging on the door and then a horrible discovery. Raleigh police say Tom Koenig died on this porch on Haywood Street Thursday morning. Though homeless, neighbors saw Koenig around here often.
And so I just want justice to be served.
Tom Koenig's sister, Linda Penfield, spoke to us via Facebook Messenger from her home in Washington State.
He was a good person, and I want people to know that. He was loved by a lot of people. He had a very large, extended family.
Police sent us this recent picture of him, but Linda prefers these. Memories of growing up with her brother, time spent on the Outer Banks. Their birthdays just one day apart.
For probably 20 years, I would call him late on his birthday, and we would talk for 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour, and we would talk our way into my birthday.
The last time she saw her brother, exactly 1 year before his death.
The last words I said to him, and I'm thankful that I did, I told him that I would be praying for him and that I loved him.
Witnesses say Koenig looked bruised and bloody when they found him. Police haven't said how he died.
Tom was always really peaceful, very happy. He was very gentle.
Now Linda's left with questions. Who could have done this to her brother, and why?
Linda says she and Tom are among 8 siblings in their family. They have not figured out what to do yet about a funeral. Police have not identified any suspects in this case. Live in Raleigh, Michael Hyland, CBS 17 News.
All right, Michael, thank you. 2 Holly Springs high school students are behind bars after police say they stole packages off porches last month. And police say that one of the accused thieves may have targeted his own neighbors. Tonight, CBS 17's Colleen Quigley spoke with people in Holly Springs. And Colleen, what was the reaction?
Well, so Angela, in a day and age where so many of us shop online, as you can imagine, the people I spoke with definitely concerned about this, but also really surprised that this happened in their neighborhood.
Police say these 2 teens turned into a pair of porch pirates, pilfering packages from this Holly Springs neighborhood. According to court documents, 16-year-old Dylan Wade and 18-year-old Martin Woodward are accused of stealing deliveries from porches of homes on Avon Ferry Road. Those documents also say Dylan Wade lives on this exact street where the packages were taken from. But it wasn't just deliveries the pair allegedly lifted. A search warrant says the teens also stole 2 mountain bikes from a home in Holly Glen and attempted to break into a car. Neighbors there didn't want to go on camera, but said they were surprised by the crimes. One man even adding nothing bad goes on in Holly Glen. The documents go on to say one of the teens admitted to stealing the bikes and other items and even told officers where they could find them. The court documents say both Wade and Woodward are students at Holly Springs High School.
And each of those teens is facing charges of attempted breaking and entering of a motor vehicle and misdemeanor larceny, according to court documents. Russ?
Colleen, thanks for that. The president is back in Washington tonight after addressing NRA members at their annual conference in Dallas, Texas.
Their Second Amendment rights are under siege, but they will never, ever be under siege as long as I'm your president.
The president spoke about guns at a crucial time in the debate. Soon after the Florida school shooting, the president said he would be open to raising the age of the purchase rifles, but ultimately walked back on some of those proposals. And North Carolina Congressman Richard Hudson, a Republican, also took center stage at the convention.
CBS 17 investigates reporter Richard Essex reports on his message to NRA members.
There is preaching to the choir, and then there is Congressman Richard Hudson talking to the annual NRA conference.
And all that rain in a short window of time, creating a nightmare on the roads for some of the busiest areas in Wake County. We brought you this video right here at 9 o'clock of stranded cars on Millbrook Road. That's at Leesville Road. Since then, that water, though, has finally started to recede.
And check this out from Crabtree Valley Mall. That's water rising into the parking garage sent to our newsroom within the past hour. And this is a live look at the traffic maps. We've seen several issues all night long along 440 near Crabtree Valley Mall, up and down Glenwood Avenue and on Creedmoor Road. I will say that it has improved a bit from earlier. Our team of reporters has been monitoring things all night.
Amy Cutler is at Crabtree Valley Mall right now, but we start with Colleen Quigley live at Newton Road, where the road there has washed out and part of it. And the pictures, Colleen, that you tweeted earlier were unbelievable.
And Russ, that's the thing. The pictures don't even do it justice. As we've been standing here, I have watched, Russ, as the road behind me has collapsed into the water below. I know it's difficult to see from our vantage point because it's so dark out here, but that collapse it stretches pretty much the entire span of Newton Road here. And what you really can't see, Russ and Angela, is how deep this actually goes. I spoke with several officers on scene. They say this hole is about 25 feet deep at least. And the water from Crabtree Creek, which this road runs over, is now rushing under it. And every time part of that asphalt breaks off, we can hear it like smack down onto that water. It sounds like a giant tidal wave almost coming under there. We spoke with a gentleman who lives in the apartment complex right here, Sandy Creek, and he said that yesterday he was out walking on the sidewalk and noticed the sidewalk had started to crack. He said it had been replaced about a year ago. He even went up and put a ticket with the city to say, hey, you might want to check this out. He said they did come out here, but obviously that heavy rain that we got today only made matters worse. And now this is what has happened. That apartment complex, by the way, they don't have water at all tonight. Just for context, we're right near Six Forks Road. He said a lot of people use this as a cut through. They're not going to be able to do that because the road obviously is closed. There are crews out here working to make the repairs, but we don't have a timeline yet on how long that's going to take. So you want to stick with CBS17.com and our news app throughout the night tonight to get any updates we can bring you on this situation before your morning commute. Reporting live in Raleigh, Colleen Quigley, CBS 17 News.
Yeah, no water. That could be a while. And of course, they've got to fix that road. Colleen, thank you. We'll be checking in just a few moments with you.
Now we don't check in with CBS 17's Amy Cutler live at Crabtree Valley Mall and Glenwood Avenue. Amy.
Yeah, Russ, this is a real trouble spot. We all know this area is prone to flooding. We are on Creedmoor by Glenwood. The mall is just behind us. Drivers telling me the water rose really fast, and you can see the effects of this. We've got 4 cars that are submerged in water. This is actually an improvement from when we first arrived. There was actually a 5th car that a tow truck was able to get out of here. Now I want to show you some video of the mall parking lot by Best Buy. That was 1 car stuck, submerged up to the top of the tires, a garbage can floating away. Then over at the back end of the mall on Crabtree Valley Avenue, the water got pretty high there. This is by the McDonald's. We spotted some drivers actually going through, others turning around. That, of course, is a smart thing to do. Much of this water from Crabtree Creek, which is especially high tonight. One driver who had to climb out of the passenger side of her car, sharing her reaction.
And it's disheartening at your car and you can't get to it and you just have to leave it. And it's just underwater and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. Yeah, back out here live, you can get a look. I am actually in the middle of Crabtree, and you can see that the water is up to halfway up my calf, so it is really high still. This is a big improvement. Earlier tonight, it was just up to my knee. Now, we did have the chance to drive down Glenwood all the way to 540. Fortunately, there weren't really any trouble spots, just some ponding on the side of the roads. Now, we are going to head onto the Beltline, and we'll give you a live look at some of the conditions there coming up in a little bit. For now, we are live in Raleigh. Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot to wash a car or get it to stall out. Now, those are just some of the trouble spots. Viewers have been sending us photos all night. This is what it looked like further up Glenwood Avenue toward Briar Creek around 8:30. This is one of those spots that Amy had mentioned. We're told this is near that Rooms to Go. You can see cars pulled over, unable to go anywhere.
Wow, we need that to clear out before that morning commute. That is for sure. More photos sent to us from Heather Ratzlaff in Raleigh. She took these photos from her home in Laurel Hills. This is near Crabtree. She says she was hardly able to get to her home from her driveway, and the water was up to her thigh. Pretty high there, too. Well, obviously, she was in a safe location when she sent us those. If you are able to share photos from what it's like in your neighborhood, we want to see them. You can do it right through our CBS 17 News and weather apps. You can also sign up for push alerts like the ones we've been sending out throughout the evening. It's free right there in your app store.
UNC off the hook.
I think that's pathetic of the NCAA.
You have to go by the bylaws, not opinion.
Right now at 5, the closing chapter of the year's long academic scandal and how UNC is moving forward. A live look outside of the Smith Center. Thousands of fans expected to pack the arena tonight to kick off the new basketball season and hang the latest championship banner. One thing fans and athletes won't have hanging over their heads, penalties or sanctions from the NCAA. Good evening. I'm Birshal Edmei in for Sharon Tazwell.
And I'm Sean Maroney. Thanks for joining us. The 26-page report sent to the university by the NCAA this morning summed up in one sentence, quote, the committee ruled that they could not conclude that the University of North Carolina violated NCAA academic rules. From Franklin Street to the Smith Center, this is the talk of Chapel Hill.
Our team of reporters covering it all, starting with our Aaron Anderson with a breakdown of this report and what Carolina has to say about it all.
Well, look, it's safe to say everybody here on campus is breathing a little bit easier, and that dark cloud you mentioned hanging over UNC is now gone. The NCAA investigation over, and most importantly, no sanctions. Now, according to Chancellor Carol Folt, it's exactly what she thought the infractions committee would conclude.
When facts are out and the record is fully read, people will do the right thing. And in that way, that is what I believed would happen.
UNC can finally turn the page on an ugly chapter. Despite the evidence, the NCAA Committee on Infractions could not conclude academic violations.
Sometimes the behavior that you're not proud of just doesn't quite fit into a bylaw or a rule or something, and that's what we've been talking about for 5 years. We're not proud of the behavior, but we didn't think it violated the bylaw. And today the Committee on Infractions revealed to us that they came to that same conclusion.
So after multiple delays and a lengthy investigation, the Tar Heels finally have a satisfactory resolution. Case closed.
I could not be more pleased for our student athletes and our coaches, nor could I be more proud of how they've conducted themselves in the last few years, given some of the trying times that they've had. So I'm very pleased with today's outcome.
This isn't a time of celebration. It's just a time of focusing and continuing with that same level of determination.
Yeah, UNC fans hoping that means more championships. Look, in a matter of hours, the men's basketball team will raise its latest banner in the annual Late Night with Roy season kickoff. Hey, folks here happy they can finally put all this talk of an academic scandal to bed. Reporting from Chapel Hill, Aaron Anderson for CBS North Carolina.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, this investigation dates back to the 1990s, but really kicked off in 2010 when the NCAA first began investigating player benefits after a series of tweets from football player Marvin Austin, ultimately resulting in a one-year postseason ban for the football team. Over the next 2 years, head coach Butch Davis was fired, AD Dick Bedore retired, and Chancellor Holden Thorpe resigned. Over the course of 2014 and 2015, accusations of paper classes in the Department of African American Studies and a notice of allegations from the NCAA claiming UNC lacked, quote, institutional control.
Earlier this summer, Chancellor Carol Folt, joined by Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham and coaches Larry Fedora, Roy Williams, and Sylvia Hatchell, all traveled to Nashville to meet with the NCAA. With that board ahead of today's decision, a very long process that appears to be over, at least from an investigation standpoint by the NCAA.
Something that has most Carolina fans breathing a sigh of relief. Our coverage continues right now with CBS North Carolina's Bo Minnick on Franklin Street. Bo, a long time coming for the Tar Heel faithful.
Sean, a lot of Tar Heel fans are in Chapel Hill this weekend. There's a football game tomorrow, and as we mentioned earlier, there's also that rally for the men's basketball team tonight. This certainly has been a lengthy process, and it's one the fans are glad to put behind them. 3 words etched in chalk in the sidewalk, but 3 words that mean so much to Tar Heel fans.
This has been a long time coming, and we've been going through this for a while and waiting for this day. So our luck changed on Friday the 13th.
The NCAA could not conclude UNC violated NCAA academic rules, and the university is avoiding sanctions. Your reaction to this report?
Thank God, because we deserve that championship.
I'm excited. Tar Heel Nation's excited. It's a great day.
UNC fans tell me they were confident this would be the outcome. Ed Presson graduated in 1973 and is back in town this weekend from Florida.
They had that studies when I was here, and that was a very hard department. You didn't go in there to get classes for, just for grades.
Elsewhere, fans from other schools in the Triangle weren't nearly as pleased.
I'm surprised the NCAA didn't even give them a slap on the wrist, but from what I've seen, the NCAA
actually doesn't really have the jurisdiction to determine academic rigor.
I think 20 years of academic fraud should be punished. I think them getting off with nothing is a joke.
Now UNC fans say it's time to focus on the good times ahead.
Knowing the NCAA, they put their all into this, and if they wanted to get something out of it, they would have.
And with that rally tonight and the football game tomorrow, there will be plenty of opportunities for fans to continue to discuss the NCAA's decision. Live in Chapel Hill, Bo Minnick, CBS, North Carolina.
Bo, thank you. And our coverage of the UNC decision continues over the next 90 minutes. At 5:30, our David Hurst at the Smith Center for Late Night with Roy, where the latest national championship banner will be unveiled. And at 6, more reaction and breakdown of today's report, as well as a whistleblower's response to today's ruling. Our coverage also continues right now on WNCN.com and our news app, where you can find Chancellor Carol Folt's full response and a link to the 26-page report.